Max Verstappen was running third at Silverstone, with a podium finish in sight, when his season took another painful turn. He was running third, with a podium in sight, when his rear wing failed to close properly heading into Stowe, sending him spinning into the gravel with just 4 laps remaining. The crash triggered a late safety car, and the race finished under caution behind winner Charles Leclerc. This ties directly into his qualifying crash in Austria the weekend before, the same underlying failure, though a different specific fault each time. In Austria, Verstappen's rear wing failed to reattach properly after a straight-line mode activation. At Silverstone, the wing failed to close in time as he turned into Stowe, one of the circuit's fastest corners. Both incidents stripped the car of rear downforce in an instant and sent it into an uncontrolled spin. The explanation circulating around material fatigue or harmonic vibration does not match the actual mechanical picture. Red Bull uses a single actuator system to open and close the active wing flap, and that system has been struggling to fully close under certain conditions. Ferrari's twin actuator design, by comparison, has proven more reliable through the same regulations. The damage to Verstappen's championship campaign is now visible in the standings. He sits 7th place, on 76 points, 103 points, behind championship leader Kimi Antonelli, who leads with 179 points. Verstappen did not hide his frustration afterward. He called the situation super dangerous, warning that a driver could really hurt himself if the wing failed again at high speed. At that point, it's super dangerous, because you can really hurt yourself, he said, adding that he had been fortunate both in Austria and at Silverstone. Team boss Laurent Mekies backed his driver's frustration and promised a fix. He's right not to be happy, Mekies told reporters. It is very unpleasant for drivers to be let down by the car in the high-speed corners in 2 consecutive races. Mekies confirmed the team would investigate the full system to eliminate the fault before it happens again, adding that the bottom of the problem. It is also worth noting how Verstappen even found himself running third at Silverstone. Russell lost time to a slow puncture, Antonelli's wheel shield issue dropped him out of contention, and Hamilton was carrying a 5-second penalty for a false start. Verstappen himself admitted that even a podium finish would not have felt deserved, pointing to a lack of straight-line speed and a difficult overall balance with the car throughout the weekend. The stakes rise further at the next round. Formula One heads to Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix, a circuit built around some of the fastest corners on the calendar, including Eau Rouge and Raidillon, both taken at full throttle with the same active wing system in play. A repeat failure there would carry even greater risk than at Silverstone or Austria. Red Bull is reportedly considering reverting to an older, more conventional rear wing specification for Spa if it cannot be fully confident the current design is safe, even though that would cost the team valuable straight-line performance at an energy-sensitive circuit. Away from the technical questions, Verstappen's relationship with Red Bull continues to face scrutiny, with reports pointing to talks between his camp and McLaren over a possible move for 2027. Across the garage at Mercedes, the story is different but no less pressing for team principal Toto Wolff. Mercedes has taken all 9 poles this season, but converted only 7 into wins, with Ferrari stealing victories at Barcelona and Silverstone. Wolff has made his stance on the trade-off clear. I'd rather dial back a little bit something that is really good and fix some of the reliability gremlins than run behind performance, he said, adding that Mercedes should have won every round so far this year. That gamble has already cost the team results. George Russell retired from the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix after an electrical problem. Antonelli suffered a DNF from 2nd place in Barcelona due to a similar issue. At Silverstone, Antonelli's wheel shield failure forced him out of contention for the win when he had been closing in on Leclerc, and a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits dropped him out of the points entirely. Wolff described the fault as involving a brake duct and wheel shield, saying something became lodged in the assembly and prevented the wheel from turning freely. Despite these setbacks, Mercedes has still covered more distance than any team but Ferrari this season, with 5,215 kilometers completed out of a possible 5,408. At the other end of the field, Aston Martin sits at the bottom, with 3,753 kilometers covered, having taken just 8 finishes from a possible 18 races. By contrast, Ferrari has not suffered a comparable run of major reliability issues in 2026, while steadily closing the performance gap to Mercedes on track. Wolff, informed that Mercedes had actually won 7 of the first 9 rounds rather than 6, responded simply, "Should have been 9 from 9. The question now facing Wolff is whether prioritizing outright pace over reliability will end up costing Mercedes a championship that, on raw performance alone, it should already have secured. Further down the grid, Williams is enduring a far more troubling season. Carlos Sainz and teammate Alex Albon have struggled with a car that lacks stability and suffers from aerodynamic balance issues through medium and high-speed corners. The FW48 began the year overweight by as much as 28 kilograms after failing a pre-season crash test, a problem the team has only gradually corrected. Sainz has pointed to a possible correlation problem between the team's wind tunnel and what the car actually does on track. It's clear we don't fully understand these aerodynamics and these regulations, because we're clearly not improving at the same pace as the others, Sainz said after Silverstone. He has described the situation as one that leaves him worried, noting that Williams introduced a new front wing at Silverstone that failed to deliver the expected gains. Sainz finished 12th at Silverstone, more than 4 seconds behind race winner Leclerc, while Albon failed to reach the finish. Sainz currently sits on 6 points in the driver's standings, with Albon on 5, as the team sits well behind its 5th-place finish from the previous season. Sainz's move to Williams, once viewed as a fresh start after his Ferrari exit, is increasingly looking like a career risk that has yet to pay off. Ferrari, by contrast, arise at Spa with genuine momentum. Coming off back-to-back victories at Barcelona and Silverstone, the team is preparing an aggressive, low-drag setup aimed at closing the top speed gap to Mercedes on Spa's long straights. Reports from Italy's motorsport.com indicate Ferrari plans to remove its FTM exhaust system, a component that reportedly directs hot exhaust gases onto the lower part of the rear wing to boost downforce in medium and high-speed corners. Running without it should reduce drag over Spa's flat-out sections, from La Source through Eau Rouge and up to Les Combes, as well as the run from Stavelot to the bus stop chicane. At Silverstone, Ferrari's updated aerodynamic package already reduced the amount of hybrid energy the car needed to spend in what engineers call the clipping phase, the point at which available electrical power runs out, and the combustion engine alone must carry the car. That efficiency let Hamilton and Leclerc deploy electric power more effectively at key moments, helping to close a gap that had been as much as 20 km per hour in Austria. Hamilton recorded the fastest top speed of the British Grand Prix at 352 km per hour. Spa's Kemmel Straight regularly sees cars exceed 330 km per hour, making straight-line efficiency central to both lap time and overtaking there. The obvious risk is that an aggressive, low-downforce setup built for dry conditions could leave the car unstable if the weather at Spa turns, a genuine possibility given the circuit's unpredictable microclimate. Lewis Hamilton heads into the weekend third in the championship on 147 points, with Ferrari sitting second in the constructors' standings, 78 points behind Mercedes. Hamilton has said the team needs to keep bringing upgrades and do a better job than it did at Silverstone if it wants to convert that momentum into results at one of the longest and fastest circuits on the calendar.